Hi all, and welcome to the info session. Today we're going to be talking about the Management and Leadership Trek to Ireland, which I'm really excited about and very excited that you're here to learn a little bit more about it. So this will likely take a few minutes. I will go through some of the key points and the structure of the trek. If you have any questions, I'm always available you can just drop me an email. My email address is wilsoncs@bc.edu. That will be in the info session presentation. But just wanted to say welcome again, and I'm really excited that we're starting this journey together. All right, let's jump in. So before we get into the presentation itself, I did just want to introduce myself a little bit. My name is Chris Wilson-Byrne. I am a part-time professor at Boston College in the Carroll School of Management, where I teach the core strategy course. I've been doing that for a few years now. In addition, I've taught a number of summer programs and taken a number of students abroad. I designed and implemented a study abroad program on strategic management in South Africa, which was just, I had a blast, and I think the students had a blast. And I just really, really love teaching. I just love the whole kind of process. Love getting to know students. I love watching students, grow and develop and figure out what they like and where they're going in their career. However, I'm not an academic and I'm not a full-time teacher. In fact, what I do full-time is I work at Fidelity Investments in Boston. I've had a number of different strategy roles at Fidelity. Before Fidelity, I actually kind of started my career in strategy at Bain Company. I worked in the London and South Africa office at Bain, and actually started my career on Wall Street down at Goldman Sachs. And if you have any, you want to know more about me, you can check out my LinkedIn profile as well. But I just wanted to, let you know who you're talking to before we get too deep into the program. So let's just do a quick overview of what this program is. So the Management and Leadership Trek to Ireland, it's really an opportunity for students, and specifically students that don't have a background in business or maybe are just beginning their business education. It gives them a way to get a bit of the fundamentals of business. But I think more importantly, it's an opportunity for students to develop some really practical professional skills and most importantly, gain some real world experience through an internship. So I think that's one of the biggest differentiators is that if you participate in the trek, we work to get you a placement for, in an internship over the summer. And I think that's a really important component of all of this. But aside from that, why join this program? As I said, you're going to learn the basics of business. We're going to do some lectures and case studies on strategy, organizational behavior, and leadership. So some part of it will feel really familiar, especially if you're an undergraduate student. But in addition to that, we're going to spend a good chunk of time building those PowerPoint and Excel skills. If you've never used PowerPoint or you've never used Excel before, fantastic. We're really going to go from the ground up. But if you have used them before, we really do move at a pretty good clip. So, this is also a great opportunity to really sharpen those skills and really just get some practice. In addition, at the end of this program, you're really going to have something that you can put on your resume to make you competitive for those really competitive internships or jobs sort of the following summer. And of course, this is a fantastic opportunity to go visit and explore Ireland. I actually lived in Dublin for about a year while I was working at Bain in the London office. I just fell in love with the country. There's so much to do there, so many interesting things from a business perspective, and of course, just a really rich culture. In terms of how the program is structured, so I think the centerpiece really is the trip to Ireland, but as I mentioned, we're really trying to build the program out so it provides and kind of gets at the objectives of the program holistically. So we actually start with 2 boot camps that take place on two Saturdays in April. And those are full day sessions where we really get into the sort of basics of business. We do some lectures, we do some case studies, and it's just a good way to provide everyone with the same level set and the same kind of toolkit. And then, of course, the second component is the trip to Ireland. That's 7 days in Ireland. And then we come back from Ireland, and then actually everyone is placed in a 4 to 6 week virtual internship. So you can do that internship from anywhere. And there's a number of different firms that we work with. some large corporates, some small consulting firms, some nonprofits, and some tech startups. So, if you're interested, I would highly recommend you apply now. Admissions is rolling, and we'll get into the admissions process at the end of this. But then one final note, there are some merit scholarships available. So, if that's important to you, there will be some opportunities for that. So hopefully this gives you a bit of an overview of the program. Now, I just wanted to do a deep dive into the different components of the program. So as I mentioned, the trek really begins before we go to Ireland with our 2 boot camps. So one of them is going to take place at Boston College. One's going to take place over Zoom. It's 2 Saturdays in April. And hopefully this gives you a sense of kind of what we cover. So we really begin by providing an overview of the program, really getting into the basics of business. So if you've never taken a business course before, or you've never read a case study before, this will just give you the language of business and kind of level set everyone. We'll then spend some time going through some basic financial accounting. So financial accounting is essentially the language of business, and being able to read financial statements is really important. So we'll spend a good chunk of time just kind of laying out those basics. And then we actually get into the strategic management, some competitive advantage, and we do our first case study. During the second boot camp, that's when we really start to focus on Ireland a little bit more, get a bit deeper into some of the content around strategy with positioning, and then also start laying the foundation for the kind of management and leadership perspective. So once we've done the boot camps, then, of course, there is actually the trip itself, and that takes place in mid-May. Now, this is structured so that it takes place hopefully after any final exams, but before any other potentially longer term or in-person internships. So I mentioned everyone who participates in the program will be placed in an internship, but you can also participate in this program if you already have an internship or you're planning to do an internship somewhere else. Again, this is just a great way to kind of supercharge and get ready for that experience, and the dates have been structured in that way. So the trip to Ireland goes from the 16th through the 22nd of May, and you'll kind of get a sense of the itinerary. We spend the first 5 days in Dublin, kicking off, really digging into those critical skill sets of, using PowerPoint, using Excel. We have a little bit of fun, so we also explore, and you'll also have plenty of time to explore, outside of your, the kind of structured time together. And then we also will spend some time doing some company visits. So we'll visit Fidelity in Ireland. We'll also visit the Quealy Group, which is a large manufacturing company. And then after 5 days in Dublin, we actually head out to the west coast of Ireland. We spend the last 2 days of the trip in a small fishing village called Doolin, where we'll really get a taste of the local Irish culture, but we'll also continue with learning about what it's like to actually do business in Ireland. And then we finish up the program actually with a deep dive into the recruiting process and helping you all prepare for any type of interview situation, and just really helping you get ready from a resume perspective and from an interview prep perspective. So hopefully what you're getting a sense of is that with the boot camps plus the trip, you're really going to get a great kind of grounding in not just the kind of, academic foundations, and not just the, the skill sets, but also how to start your career, just the mechanics of interviewing, resume prep, etc. And then finally, of course, I mentioned we've got the internships. So if you already have an internship, that's fantastic. We could plug that right in. If you don't, we'll work with you to make sure that you get placed in an internship. Some of the internships that we've done before, as I mentioned, are with large corporates. We've also done some internships with crypto. And so I know some of you might be really interested in learning more about cryptocurrency, so there will be opportunities there. If you're interested in consulting, we've got some partnerships with small consulting firms to help you there. And then we also work with a number of different tech startups and nonprofits. And just depending on the demand there, we often have a mix of internship placements there. And so these internships usually go between 4 to 6 weeks. As I mentioned, they're virtual, so you can do them from anywhere. Many of them actually are Boston-based. So if you either live in Boston or want to be based in Boston during the summer, that's fantastic as well. And as part of the trek, I do organize some in-person get-togethers on Fridays throughout the summer for the folks that actually are in Boston. So again, it's just a good opportunity to reconnect and see how it's going. Okay, so just a few more of the mechanics of the program in terms of costs and payments. So the total cost of the program is $3,500. In order to secure your spot with the program, you need to deposit $1,000, and then the final payment of $2,500 is due on March 1st. And just a note, all payments are non-refundable here. So what's included in that is all of the material, housing, transit during the program. But there are some additional costs that won't be covered. So your flight to and from Ireland will not be covered, so you'll have to organize that. Also, some students often like to fly into Ireland, do the program, and then fly on somewhere else to Europe and continue travels. So that provides you some flexibility in terms of doing that. You also probably want to budget for some additional meals. Some of the meals are included in the program, but you likely want to budget between 20 and 50 euro per day for the trip, just depending on how much you eat, how you like to eat, etc. And then also students will need to cover their own travel, health, and any other insurance for the program. So hopefully that gives you a sense of the scope of that. One other thing that I did want to just let everyone know about is that we do have a merit-based scholarship called Scholars of the Institute, and that scholarship is for $2,500. So those scholars, they only need to cover the $1,000 deposit. And these scholarships are really based on leadership potential, track record of success, and level of commitment. So in your application, just be sure to really lean in on those three criteria if you're interested in the scholarship opportunity. And there may be some additional merit-based scholarships as well. Sometimes those pop up every once in a while. Okay, so final piece, how to apply. Hopefully this has gotten you interested, and now you're interested in applying. There's a few steps to the application process. The first one is you've got to submit your application. So either on the microsite or the email distribution, I'll include the link to that application in kind of any and all communications. So be sure to click that. It's a Google form. So fill out your personal information, answer those questions, hit submit. And then within 10 business days, we'll get back to you and we'll set up a 30-minute conversation with myself. That interview, it's very low stakes, low pressure. Really, I'm just trying to get to know you a little bit better, get to understand sort of what you're interested in, what you want to get out of the program, also what you'll bring to the community of the program. We're really trying to build a supportive, fun, intellectually curious community here. So really, that's just a check-in. And then within 5 days of your interview, you'll receive your decision on whether or not you've been accepted into the program. And then in terms of reserving your spot, you just need to complete the code of conduct attestation, which will be sent to you along with your offer letter. And then most importantly, you've got to send in a $1,000 deposit to secure your spot. And so just a note here, the earlier you secure your spot, actually the better, because once you've secured your spot, that's when we really can start working on those internship placements for you. And so the sooner you secure your spot, the more likely it is that we'll be able to line you up with an internship that you're really interested in. So I think this was it. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out. My email address, again, is wilsoncs@bc.edu. That's WILSONCS@bc.edu. And really looking forward to reading your applications. Thanks so much.